In studio today, joining myself is the one and only Josh Ryan. Josh, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for always having me.
And so, Josh, busy weekend here for the Lakeland College Rustlers. Just before they finish for their semester break here, let's just break down, what happened, the events over the weekend for, I guess, three different sports that were in action.
Indeed. It's the end of the line until Christmas for both volleyball, basketball, and overall a pretty successful weekend when you look at it. Men's volleyball maintain their just over 500 record. They split, not a loss they wanted, coming against last place Grand Prairie, but they managed to battle through two pretty tough 5-set matches. The second one especially, down 2-0, down 17-11 in the third set. And they were able to gut that one out 18-16 in the fifth. Fought off, I believe, 4 match points, which you don't see very often as well. For the women, they had a similar come-from-behind match on Saturday to go win their 5-setter, and they are now locked in as the second seed in the North Division. And again, for the volleyball side of things, it's better than what we expected, I think, from a women's team that was missing 3 All-Stars and 3 fifth-year leaders from their team that left this year. On the men's side, it's roughly somewhere where we expected them to be going into the season, but they're much ahead of a couple of the teams below them in the standings. So once again, they head into the second half with a chance at making playoffs. Now we'll see if they can stay healthy.
And Josh, you mentioned, they might be a little higher than some people expected for that women's volleyball team. But they've had quite a few different players step up throughout the season, whether they're regular starters or bench players.
Indeed, and we saw that on the weekend where Kaylee Lewick, who's played as sort of a right side or a left side for them over the past season and a half, she was injured earlier this year and didn't get into the starting lineup as an outside hitter. Brooklyn Bame injured heading into the week because of practice. She's out for at least the month of December, maybe even a little longer. As a result, they need another player to go into the middle. And Kaylee, while not as big as Brooklyn, she's a very athletic player and good offensive player. So she filled in pretty nicely in that spot. And that's a good thing for Coach Austin Dyer when they head into the first matches in January, that even if Brooklyn Bame's not quite ready to go, Lewick can step in pretty easily.
And now, Josh, for the basketball teams, the men, they were in a couple tight games there.
Yes, they were.
Against maybe competition that they shouldn't have been that tight against. Meanwhile, the women, they really took it to that Grand Prairie Wolves team.
Yeah, they did. The women's team in Grand Prairie has struggled historically over several seasons, so that wasn't really a surprise. On the men's side, the men's basketball team has been pretty good, but they are sitting at the bottom of the standings. And it was a tough weekend, or almost a tough weekend for Coach Sheree Thomas's team. Down 14 at the half in Game 1. They came from behind to win that. Almost blew a 12-point lead the next night to win by 4. But the important thing for them is that they're now 6-6. They're tied for 4th, that last playoff spot in the North Division. And they know that they can't rely on sneaking in like they did last year with the host seed, because Augustana hosts this year. So that was big. They got those wins. Women are still looking very strong, obviously.
Yeah, and the women, they won by 47 points on Friday. I mean, 47 points, how often do you see that in any basketball game, any basketball league? They are truly a dominant force.
For sure, but we have seen it this season already. Kings Eagles, when they played the Grand Prairie Wolves, they lost the first night by 5, won the next night by 53. So it's not the first time there's been that kind of deficit. That particular change of loss to win by 50, you see less often. Something you also don't see every day, of course, was the curling region, fall regional, I should say, that was hosted in Vermilion. We got some pretty good results overall from the Rustlers curling teams.
Yeah, for sure. The mixed team went 4-1. The men's team went 4-2. And unfortunately for the women's team, they didn't quite, get the results they wanted, going 1-5. But I guess in quite a few of those games, it was very back and forth. Anybody could have won those. And it sets up, 2 of the 3 teams for sure really well for the next qualifier if they want to make it to that ACAC championship. For the girls, they'll really have to crawl back if they want to make that championship. And another team that has to crawl back is the Bobcats. Quickly here, we'll just note they dropped both games on the weekend, losing by 1 goal in each of them. So they'll be taking on the Spruce Grove Saints here on Wednesday. So that should be an exciting one.
Yeah, and it's a big one for them, because if they want any hope of being a playoff team still, they're going to have to start to get a couple of wins in a row. They're still sitting 12 points back of the team they just dropped 2 games to.
I guess we'll see.